I went to a car meet for the first time, and usually I wouldn't have an interest in this. But my friend invited me for a funny reason I'll explain at the end, so I'm forcing you to watch the full video and stick around. This car meet advertised itself on Instagram as no childish behavior, not wanting to disrupt normal people, not doing anything dumb, but I'm not sure how many car meets just advertise themselves that way, just so they don't get trouble with the police. But I thought maybe it'll be fun, so I went. I brought my completely stock white Porsche 718 Boxster S. You know, it's a pretty boring spec, and I thought it was pretty low key considering all the 911s and Ferraris in my neighborhood, and the fact that there's tons of Lambos, R8s, C8s, and otherwise cool, flashy, modded JDM cars I saw at these meets on their Instagram page. I was wrong to think that a 718 would be low-key, and I got a ton of attention. More than I wanted, actually. And ironically, I got a few people saying that they actually liked the 718 more because they thought the 911 was too basic on social media. The attention I didn't want was a lot of teens and younger 20-year-olds egging me on to full send it on the street or even in the parking lot, which I didn't just ignore, but flat out shut down and told them, no, sorry, I don't want to break any traffic laws or draw any unnecessary attention from the police. And appearance-wise, I'm a huge nerd. Like very basic clothing with large glasses, very bad fashion sense of my hairstyle and whatever. So I'd like to think they get the impression that I'm not the typical young guy driving a fancy car for clout. And they were all very quick to respect my decision, which I really did appreciate very much. And immediately afterwards, they all matched with my vibe and asked very similar questions, like how I could afford the car, what they should do to be in my position in a few years, very serious, curious stuff like that. It was honestly refreshing to see this more responsible side of people here with all this chaotic energy going around the environment. Unfortunately, the meet ended prematurely when some idiot in a Mustang decided to do a burnout in front of the cops, so I hope he got arrested and charged for that. Afterwards, I saw the more typical aspects of annoying car culture with people leaving the meet, drag racing on busy public roads, with obnoxiously loud, obviously illegal mods cutting up through traffic. But for the most part, the people attending these meets are pretty normal people and much more responsible than I expected because of how YouTube painted them out to be. But look, I get it. I know what it's like to be a young male. You want to show off your cool toy and share your love of your car with others. With the hype, excitement, and energy, it's too easy for all these young guys to be egged on by a few nuisance instigators. Then we all get caught up in the moment with something we're so invested in. And all that testosterone in the air, it creates this chaotic environment, especially once we get the anonymity of being in cars. Just caring about the clout and hype from the crowds, not enthusiasm for the cars anymore. And I think that's the problem with car meets. So finally, why did I decide to go to my first car meet? My friend goes to car meets all the time. And one meet he met this girl that was cutting up through traffic in a BMW, and he fell in love with her at first sight. But he lost her in traffic in his 8.6, so he wanted me to try and chase her down in traffic and flag her down for him. I thought, you know what, this is a crazy suggestion, but it sounds like it could be fun, so I might as well play along. And unexpectedly, I actually found the BMW, but I don't cut up through traffic, and I was just following her slightly for a bit in the right lane, just because that's the fastest lane usually, you know how it is. Until I saw her cut across 3 lanes in a second with no signal, and I thought to myself, what am I doing? So I stopped paying attention to her, and just told my friend, she's probably going to another car meet. If you know where the next one is, let's go, but otherwise, just let it go, bro. So that's the story of why I went to my first car meet and how my new hobby became stalking women. That's how my first car meet went. It was basically what I expected, but definitely a better version of what I expected. And it was cool talking to a lot of people with the same interests as me. I'm definitely open to more mature car meets though, like Cars and Coffee or the higher end car meets, because I've heard that the audience that attends Porsche Club, Lambo, Ferrari, etc. meets are generally much more mature and less prone to doing stupid things like regular car meets have. Unfortunately, I've also heard that people attending those type of meets can be a bit more pretentious or elitist. At the same time though, I can empathize with the idea of wanting to be a bit elitist to gatekeep out some of the more problematic attendees. I want to hear from you in the comments. What's your experience with car meets? What kind of car meets do you like going to? And what kind of meets do you think I should look out for? And then if you like hearing from me, please give a like and subscribe so I can see you all next time. Bye!